Previously, on 20 Ways to Die.
Tonight, while you rest, I will go and try to rally the council together. They have been difficult to corral, but now that you are here, I'm sure everyone will be interested in meeting.
Perhaps while we wait, you can direct us to a good shop for buying and selling magical items?
Ah, yes, well, this is the City of Splendors, and I'm sure you can find many shops.
Picturing a nice little montage scene right now. You know, everyone's swinging different weapons, putting it down, picking up a different one.
You go to like reach over the counter and grab him. He swats your hand away, and you see his other hand immediately goes underneath the counter.
I will not be insulted by lowly snake oil salesmen.
All right. Well, if you don't want to give a name, then why don't you sit in the cell and think about it? So when last we left our heroes, you guys had done your little shopping spree and walking around Waterdeep waiting for the council to meet. Lee found himself in a little bit of a bind after getting a little violent with the shopkeep, and he is currently being held in the Northwest Tower in the prison cells there. You guys had all returned, the rest of the party returned back to the inn to regroup with Grimmeth and Florstan, and it's probably like around 3 or so. And then you guys all meet up at the tavern, and you're relaying the story of what happened and talking to each other and figuring out what you're going to do.
And we expect Leosin to show up anytime, right?
Yeah, he said, around...
We expect him to come around 4 o'clock. Where's that one? Council's meeting.
4 o'clock was
5.
When he was picking you up, or linking up with you guys, and council meeting was supposed to be around 5.
I guess just wait for him then. I guess. Well, did we wanna grab Resmir or anything from the castle real quick?
We should grab everything that we have, like literally everything, because I really don't think we have enough to impress the council that we've been doing good stuff.
I agree. In particular, I think we should grab what's his name? We should grab the giant, or at least his air elemental, to speak for him.
Yeah, I don't really want to bring the giant into the city. I don't think the council's going to like that very much.
I mean, he's there if they want to talk to him.
Yeah, and I'm sure the council's powerful enough to like sending or something, right? I mean, that's.
Well, we should bring some representatives, some evidence that we have a big cloud giant on our side.
Well, I mean, so we can do that. We run. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of time though, right? We run, grab all our shit, grab maybe the elemental, then head back.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, you guys would be cutting it close.
Floristan casts haste on himself and runs towards the castle.
All right. How long does haste last?
Up to 1 minute.
Okay. So you might make it like to the gate, maybe the inner wall, past the inner wall.
Yeah. Stop. Really winded. But
Yeah, so
okay, guys. I'll be right back. I get up to the castle and then realize I don't have a way of getting in, and start shouting.
All right.
Look out, guys! Help!
You're like at the bottom where the farm is, and that old farmer kind of steps out of his little villa to look and see what you're doing, and shakes his head and goes back inside.
Go back to work, Farmer Joe. Look out, guys! Help! Someone help! Ladder, please.
Didn't we leave like a rope hanging?
Yeah, what did you guys leave? I thought you guys left away where you're like, oh, we can get back up here, no problem.
I think we left a rope because we climbed down to the rope.
Yeah, but the rope didn't reach to the ground because I remember you guys having to jump like the remainder of the
There's like
No, that was separate. That was Lee just deciding.
Lee just
to be
jumping to
a
look
badass.
cool. Okay. All
And
right.
Brom falling.
Fealty also jumping because Fealty can't climb a rope.
All right,
Because
floor stand.
Fealty's
So
a
you
wolf.
you do see the rope dangling as you're calling out. No one's answering, and it's a little bit of a hop to grab the rope, but you'll be able to start climbing if you'd like.
I do that. I hype myself up. Okay, Florisan, this is your big moment.
All right.
Big moment.
Go ahead.
So
and,
how
never
is
been
he
defeated
planning
by
to
rope
carry
before.
back Resmir?
I have a backpack and a bass drum, dude.
so the
I'll
so let's see how successful you are climbing the rope. You can you use your movement or whatever, but want to see how quickly you get up it. Go ahead and do 3 athletics checks.
3 athletics checks. All right. First one is a 12.
12. Okay.
Second one is an 8.
All right.
Third one is a 20.
Nice. So as you're climbing, you're able to get your grip. You start pulling yourself up. Things are going smoothly. You do slip a little bit in the middle, but then you masterfully wrap your leg around the rope and then use your legs climbing the rope up so you don't get too tired. You make it to the top where it's kind of like at the front gate section, and the gates are open and there's a couple ogre guards just like kind of looking at you and drooling off the side of their face.
Hey guys, I have to go grab something. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hey, wait. Why do you look so glum? What's going on, buddy? Are you okay?
Yeah. Guard duty.
Oh yeah, that's a bummer, isn't it? You see that city out there though? It's kind of cool though, isn't it?
Where?
I point in the wrong direction, towards something that's not the city.
He turns and looks to where you're pointing, and it takes him like a long time before he finally turns back to you and like, I don't see no city.
No, that's okay. That's okay, buddy. We'll get you there. And then I just leave. And I remember where Resmir is because I stabbed her in the face a bunch of times. And I just grab everything, all the books that are in the room that I can carry. And what is left of Resmir?
So you go to Resmir's chambers on the main floor, and you see that the bodies aren't piled up anymore in the hallway. Everything's gone. There's been some hasty cleaning, but you can still see blood stains like in the hallway. In the particular room, it's not as bad, but the rug of smothering is gone, as well as all the bodies. Inside the room, you're able to collect up a couple books. They seem to be, nothing of, I guess, great importance. They are expensive books, but they're not like handwritten journals or anything. It looks just to be some texts that were purchased or stolen.
Well, yeah, Florisan doesn't know any better. He just grabs them.
Yeah, because you guys already looted this room.
Right.
Pretty clean.
And so Resmir's gone. Is Blogothkus around?
Go ahead and do an investigation check.
I will be happy to do that. I rolled a 22. A natural
nice.
20.
So, at this time of day, Blogothkus is usually taking his early supper upstairs in the upper floor in his quarters. So you go up, you're able to track him down pretty quickly, and see he's getting ready to eat. And he looks at you, and he's like, "Oh, yes. What do you need, tiny human?"
Okay, well, half elf, but that's okay. Alright, so we are meeting with the leaders of this city over here, and I just needed to grab a couple things. Do you know what happened to Lady Resmir?
We threw her corpse onto the spires of the Great Peak Mountains, where they were dashed
answer.
upon the rocks with all the other cult members.
Good answer. I have a favor to ask. Can I borrow your elemental buddy?
Cyclonius?
Yeah, Cyclonius. He really helped us out last time, and I think it could really help us make our case with leaders of this city to try and get their help.
What do you need of him?
Well, the thing is, we really need some proof what the cult has been up to, and that they are a threat, and action needs to be taken against them. And I figured that the elemental can kind of make a case that there's something serious going on. I mean, of course, unless you have something better to offer, I'm just trying to put together anything I can.
Well, I'm not sure how much help Cyclonius will be, as he cannot speak. But if it's anything to show that you are friends with the Skyreach Castle, then I suppose it could help.
Yeah, that could help. That could help. So, is that all right?
Yes, that is fine. When will
All
we
right.
be moving this castle onto the cult? To track
Super
them
soon.
down?
Somehow I thought
Soup.
Logathus could speak through the elemental.
That's fine. Super duper quick. Super duper quick. We're talking like if not tomorrow, then like today. I don't know, but I have to go. We're gonna move as soon as we can. All right.
Very well.
Okay. I motion towards my back like I'm trying to give him like a piggyback ride. Cyclonius.
Cyclonius just like passes through you and goes forward.
Okay. Well, I shake it off. I take a second to shake it off, and then say, "Follow me, bud," and then I run back towards the end.
All right. So let's say you're running, however many minutes just straight. So let's just do some athletics, and then we'll see how well you do. Just do 2 athletics checks, please.
Yeah. Okay, so first one is a 16.
Nice.
The second athletics check is a 10.
Okay, so you start getting winded as you're getting closer to the tavern. You're tired and out of breath, but you haven't had any exhaustion or anything like that. But you do make it back into the tavern, and you guys are all waiting. And Leosin's walking through the door as you're running up behind him. He's like, "Oh,
I try and scare him. I try and scare him.
you gonna try to scare him? Running full speed?
Well,
Do
as soon
a-
as I see him, then I stop running full
Do
speed.
a stealth check at disadvantage."
I can do that. I rolled a critical fail.
So you go to sneak up on him, and then you trip over your feet. Your legs are really heavy, and it's hard for you to pick him up. And you trip over your own feet, and you land face plant right behind him. And he turns around in a cloud of dust, and he's like, "Oh, is that you, Floriston?"
I got you, didn't I? I got you. Boo.
I guess your punctuality is still good. Come inside.
No,
and
it's-
talk with you and your friends.
Yeah, we need to talk. We really need to talk. Some shit went down, but I don't want to say anything because I might mess it up. So let's go inside and have a talk.
All right, you get up, dust yourself off, and Leosin walks in with Floristan right behind him, dusty and drenched in sweat and panting. And he nods to you guys like, "Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's your 5th member, Master Lee?"
Well, Lee opened his mouth and ended up in jail.
Yeah, that's accurate.
It's no good. Where?
No, it's not.
Was it only just opening his mouth, or was there violence?
Knowing Lee, there was violence involved.
I didn't see any violence, but it wouldn't surprise me.
According to the guards, he threatened.
Oh no.
Threatened some. Yeah.
Threatened a shopkeeper or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
We
I don't know. Floristan, you were with him. What happened?
Okay, so the shopkeeper had something that we could have really used, and we really wanted it. So first off, Leosin, I do need to apologize. I did something stupid. I used my Harper's badge to try and use the Harper credit for this item, which of course didn't work. And I do apologize. I do recognize that was a stupid thing to do. And then the shopkeeper really didn't like me at that point. And he started insulting both myself and Lee. Which, I mean, he wasn't wrong, but it was wrong to do that to Lee. And of course, Lee didn't respond very well. So he picked a fight with the shopkeeper, and then we all saw him get thrown in jail.
So Leosin is listening intently to you as you're describing what happens, and he pauses for a second, and he looks at the time, and he says, "Well, I don't know if we have the time. Should we go get Master Lee from the jail cell and take him to the council, or should we just proceed straight to the council?"
Well, how about I go to the council and say we're going to be a minute, and then you guys can go get Lee.
I don't want to go to the council without Leosin.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's a good idea to keep a bunch of important people waiting.
If we have the time to go pick up Lee, it would probably look better if all of us were there, and one of us not imprisoned. So,
I say we pick him up.
yeah. Well,
Florestan, where's the? I see you have Cyclonius with you, which I'm surprised you got through the city. Where's Resmir?
Yeah. I hand him all the books that I got.
Oh, okay.
But you forgot the corpse?
Books, cool. And the corpse?
I ate it.
Damn it, Florestan.
No, they
Damn you and your
threw,
gluttonous ways.
they threw the corpse off into the mountains. It wasn't there anymore. They cleaned it up. Sorry, guys.
Damn. Well, I'll rummage through the books and see
Like as we're walking,
what these books are. I don't know, you just shoved them towards me.
like I shoved him towards you on my way out the door, I guess. So we really need to get going though. Maybe like you can check them out like as we're getting closer.
As we're walking, I'll just check the titles, if there are any.
Okay, so Grimmeth, you don't have to do investigation check. Kind of just glance at them, and you're looking as he's handing them off to you. What are you guys planning to do as far as the council and Lee?
We're gonna go pick up Lee first, and then go to the council.
Okay. So you tell that to Leosin, and Leosin's checking his time, and he says, "Okay, very well, but we must hurry and do not waste any more time. Let us go." What tower was he being held at?
The big one.
You must be more descriptive than that.
I just start walking over towards it. I don't know where it is. I don't know what it's called.
Okay. You just walk. You know where the direction is. So, Lee, back in the cell, while this is happening, you knocked out the one guy. He still hasn't come to. The other two prisoners in the cell with you have kept their distance, and one of the guards comes down to check on you guys, and he looks in and he's like, "What happened to him?" And he's pointing to the guy that's knocked out on the sleeping mat. His legs are all the way behind his head, like he landed on his back, then his legs came up, and then he just was unconscious in that position.
Oh, he have little accident. He trip and fall.
Whoa, trip and fall, you say? Well, you guys just work it out amongst yourselves. Speaking of which, we got a new addition for you. And he motions, and a guard brings another young man in front, and you notice that the young man is Sho, and he pushes him into the cell, and they slam the door shut.
Do recognize this person?
No, you do not. He looks at you as he comes in, and you see his eyes light up for a second, and he gives you kind of a half bow, and you see his hand go into his pocket, and he's smiling, but bowing to you a little bit.
I give a slight nod, but I don't take my eyes off of him.
Okay. for some reason he's like apologetic as he's sitting down, and he starts kind of find a corner to sit down in, and he's like, oh yeah, sorry, 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 and he's just bowing as he's like taking a seat and nodding his head.
I'm gonna casually start loosening up. A little bit of stretching, rolling the wrists, cracking my neck, just not like hostily, but, just like I'm, feeling a little stiff. I need to stretch it out a little bit.
Okay. All right, so you start like stretching out a little bit and kind of getting limber, and the same guard comes back not too long after, and he's like, Lee,
That is me.
come on, you're moving yourselves. Can't have
Oh,
you.
you finally realize who I am. Good to know. Yes. Apologies will be accepted. It's okay. I understand. Accidents happen.
The two guards kind of glance at each other, and then it's like, come on, hands through the slot, and put your chains on.
There is no need for this. I have not been violent. It is okay. I will go with you.
All right, so you stick your arms through. They shackle you, and then they open up the door, and they close it, and then they lead you. They like kind of turn you around, and you're facing upstairs, but they're like, no, we're going down, and then they guide you down a floor, and they go into this room, and it's actually larger than the one you were in, and there doesn't seem to be any straw mats or anything like that. There's a small little drain in the floor, but other than that, it doesn't look like it's used that frequently. You can see it's dusty and whatnot, but
I know what drain and floor means. What is going on here?
they open up the door. They kind of shove you in, and they're like, close the door, and he's like, come on, hands, and I'll unshackle you.
I put my hands out.
Okay.
Unshackled.
They unlock the shackles, and the two guards walk away for a second.
And as they're walking away, I go, "Hey, I am not stupid. I know what this is. Let me just say, put the money on me."
You see one of them stops for a second and like kind of like he's about to turn back to look at you, and then decides not to and keeps walking away.
It's your loss.
Not too long after, 4 men approach, and they're walking down the hallway with. They're definitely not guards. They're dressed in, comfortable clothing, and they're showing their tattoos pretty freely. And you see that it looks to be 9 Golden Swords members.
We meet again.
They don't really talk to you or say anything, and 2 of them nod, and one opens the door, and then 2 of the guys come into the room with you.
Okay. As soon as the door is open, I try to rush him.
Okay. As soon as the door's open, you go to rush to try to get them while the door's like creaking open, and go ahead and roll initiative.
13.
All right. So,
Break it down for me. If I'm coming out of the cell, the hallway goes left and right, correct?
yes, the hallway leads to a stairwell going down and then a stairwell going up. It's just like a stone tower that you're inside. So, Lee, your turn. So he kind of slams the door shut as you're trying to rush, and the two guys he pushes in front of you.
I go, I am not trapped in here with you. You are trapped in here with me.
Oh, God.
And I perform Claw of the Trembling Scarecrow.
All right, Claw of the Trembling Scarecrow. You roll a 17 to hit. It does strike the first guy as he's like coming in for 12 bludgeoning damage. And then what else?
Another unarmed strike. Prowling Leopard Claw for 18.
All right, 18 hits.
Another 12 damage.
Damn. All right.
And I'm going to Stunning Strike on that last one.
Okay.
So he's got to make a DC 14 con save.
All right, con save coming up. He rolls a 6.
So
Okay.
he's stunned. So I'm going to sidestep past him to get to the other guy. And then I'm going to flurry of blows. Steel Phoenix Blow for 15.
15 hits.
That is going to do 10 damage, and I'm going to attempt to stunning strike him as well.
Okay. Ooh, critical fail.
He's stunned, but I already flurried the blows, so I'll take one more attack at him. I get advantage on that, so that's 23. Arrow under the spring rain for 11 damage.
Ooh, nice. These guys are pretty staggered. And they're stunned, so they're like, you can see that they probably want to slink up against the bars, but they're stunned and their body's not cooperating with them. All right, what else do you want to do?
Well, that's my turn.
Okay, so from the outside, the guy that slammed the door shut, you see that he's wearing he has significantly more tattoos than the others. He looks to be more of like a sergeant or veteran of the 9 golden swords, and he's like shocked and steps back for a second, and he gives a little smirk, pulls out a light crossbow, and he like goes to shoot you in between the bars. It goes wide, and you do deflect missisos.
I
So,
didn't need to if it went wide.
oh, it's when hit by a ranged weapon.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So you don't have to expend any key or anything like that. But the shot goes wide, and you see him kind of look at you with a little bit of anger and also a little bit of approval too. He kind of shakes his head for a second and puts his crossbow down, and you see him start moving towards the upstairs hallway. And he turns and he kind of glances at the 2 stunned guys in with you and looks at you, and he says, "Be seeing you around, Lee." And he disappears up the stairs.
Tattoos are no substitute for training.
All right.
So
The stunned guys'
My turn.
turns. What can they do?
They're stunned until the end of their next
Your next
Yeah.
turn.
I know.
Lee's next turn. So
All right. So you got
All
2
right.
stunned guys standing there with you, and they look to be pretty low level 9 golden sword thugs.
I'm gonna keep attacking him.
Okay.
22 drunkard silencing
Oh,
palm for 7 bludgeoning.
Okay. He looks like he's pretty close to eating it.
Okay. And that's a 18 to hit.
18
Giant
hits.
squid spine squeeze for 10 damage.
All right. Describe how you kill him with your giant squid spine squeeze.
After the silencing palm knocked his head up, I come in around him and I yank inwards. I give him like a bear hug, and I yank inwards, and it fractures a vertebrae that paralyzes him, and he
Ew.
collapses.
Crushing in your hands as he slumps over. The other guy's looking at you kind of the corner of his eye, and you see more sweat dripping down the side of his face as he like struggles to try to react to you.
Well, I still get a bonus attack. 10th form of the lightning fist for
Okay.
20 for
Oh,
9
yeah.
bludgeoning damage.
That does it. How do you do him?
As I drop the guy, I spin back around, and it's just straight shot to the mouth.
All right. It almost feels like
Emphasis is on speed.
it almost feels like your fist sinks right through his face, and you almost get half of your fist through his face before you pull it out, and it's just a pulpy mess as he falls backwards onto the ground. Yeah.
I am going to attempt to loot their bodies for any kind of weapon or keys, money, anything that might assist me in my situation.
All right.
I mean, always money.
You are able to find. They both are carrying maces, and money. They have like 40 copper on them total.
Yeah, it's, I guess I'll take the mace.
All right. Their blood's seeping into the floor drain in the center, so it's doing its job, and then you see that no one else seems to be coming down here. It's all quiet in the prison cell. All right, let's jump back to our party. All right, the main parties. You guys are kind of walking hurriedly. Floorstan's remembering the way and leading the group, with Brahm and Aravan to help guide them. Gurmith hasn't been to this section of the town yet, but he too is looking over the titles as you guys are walking of the books.
yeah,
that you
he's
grabbed.
got like 2 books under his right arm. He's got his mage hand carrying 1 or 2 books.
You probably get the chance to read like speed read, like two or three out of the 6 books that you're carrying, and
At least glance over.
yeah. But with your high investigation, I assume that you'd be able to pretty much have a photographic memory
Well,
where
I,
you're just like,
I can still roll.
yeah, go ahead and give three rolls, please.
All at disadvantage. Exhaustion.
Oh yeah. Do you have a? All right, a 12,
So,
a 24,
that is-
and a 9.
112, 124, and a critical fail.
Critical fail.
A
But
9.
still a 9. So the first book you recognize as being a pretty expensive book, probably worth about maybe 25 gold to the right buyer. The second book is actually a really rare first edition text that you think you could, if you found a collector, probably get anywhere from 500 to 1,000 gold for it.
Wow.
And the third book fumbles out of your hand and flops onto the ground in a cloud of dust, and you don't have a chance to go back and grab it because you guys are still moving quickly as a group.
What?
What? I can't even use like my mage hand to pick it back up.
The book is
Move it up to
just
30.
10 pounds and 4 ounces, and it's too heavy for mage hand. No, I'm just
Really?
joking. Yeah, you can.
Darn.
You like turn, send your floating hand out to grab it and scoop it up, and you quickly whisk it back into your stack of books, but you're able to see what the title is or know its value.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you guys are walking to the northwest tower, and you start coming up on it, and Leosin kind of stops you guys for a second, and he says, "Okay, so tell me, who has already tried talking to them, to the main guards here?"
I have.
I have.
And were they receptive to you two?
No. In fact, I think the one guy might have tried to solicit a bribe from me, but
Oh,
I'm not entirely sure.
and what was his name or his rank?
The sergeant or commander of the tower?
Why? Well, that's good news then. If the sergeant of the tower might be able to accept a bribe, perhaps we can get your friend out quicker than I thought.
Ah, bribery of civic officials. I
Yes.
find it distasteful, but very well.
Well, you
Almost
must.
as distasteful as a sentient sword that wants to kill your allies.
Much more distasteful.
Oh, what's a sword? Yes. Well, you must understand, Erevan, that sometimes palms must be greased to keep Waterdeep moving along.
Yes, yes.
And besides, the importance of Lee being at this council supersedes any petty crime or bribe that this guard may take.
Very well, fair enough.
I will go talk with him. Florestan, do you care to join?
Absolutely, let's go.
Right then. You guys go into the tower, and there's Sergeant Unfallen at his desk, and he doesn't even look up to you. He's like, "If you have a grievance, fill out the paperwork right here on my left, and I'll
Oh,
take
I
it
have a
from you."
grievance, all right. You listen here, guy.
And then like he stops writing and looks up at you from his glasses, and like, "Yes?
Do you know who I am?
No, I do not. Who are you?"
I'm this guy. I'm this guy's friend. He's Leosin. Talk to him.
And then Leosin like, yes, Sergeant Unfallen, was it? I am Leosin Erlanthar, and I would like for you to release one of your prisoners. He's like, which one are you talking about? Why, it's Lee Balong, and he was taken into your custody earlier today. All right. Yeah, he's been kind of a trouble, but I suppose I would be willing to part with him. He's already caused enough of a ruckus. What's it worth to you? And Leosin glances at you, Florestan, for a second, and then reaches into his money pouch and grabs a couple coins, and he's like, "How about 5 gold to release him immediately?" Sergeant Unfallen looks for a second and looks at the gold, and he says, "Fine, I'll have him brought up immediately. He grabs the gold quickly, kind of shoves it in his pocket under the table, and goes back to writing. And as he's writing his stuff, he doesn't even look back at you. He's like, "You can sit over there and wait for him. He'll be up in a minute."
Dude, you haven't even moved. How is he gonna get up here?
I was about to say the same thing. Like, is he gonna call anybody?
As you guys take your seats, then he's like, "Hey, McCormick, get over here." And then McCormick comes running up, and Sergeant Unfallen talks to him in his ear, and McCormick runs down with his keys jangling and goes downstairs. And not too long after, Lee, you can hear above you like a guy saying, "Hey, where is he?" And one of the prisoners in your old cell is like, "They took him downstairs." Jingling of keys as McCormick comes plowing down the stairs, and he sees you inside the cell with 2 dead bodies just oozing blood into the drain, and he's like, are you Lee, or is one of these guys?"
I am Lee. Pay no mind to them. I tried to get them to stop fighting each other, but they insisted. There's nothing I can do about it.
Hands, please.
Yes, of course.
You put your hands through the opening.
I dropped the mace. I dropped the mace too, and then.
Oh, you dropped them. Yeah, you can't get your hands through the bars because the mace keeps like clanging up against the opening. Like, oh shit! And then you drop the mace. You stick your arms through, and then you see him like reach back for his belt, and he's like, "Oh no, I forgot the shackles. You wait here. I'll be right back." And he goes running away with jangling of keys. Lee sits there, rolling his eyes, and sure enough, McCormick does come back pretty quickly, and he's like, he has shackles, and he's like, "Oh, okay, here we go. All right." And you see his hands shaking a lot as he's kind of trying to put the shackles around your wrists, and even for the second shackle, you just help him out and clap it around yourself, and he's like, thank you, okay, all right, I'm gonna open this now, and then you walk in front of me, okay? Or wait, behind me. Okay, well,
I go in front so you can keep eye on me.
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
okay. I
okay.
cooperate.
But yeah, don't run.
Of course not. May I suggest perhaps a little less tea in the morning? You seem shaky.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm a coffee drinker, but I guess tea might be something I could switch to.
Yes, I recommend green tea. Very delicious.
He opens the door, and he's like really nervous, and he keeps glancing at the 2 bodies on the ground, one of which is like spine is twisted in a weird way, the other of which looks like his face is completely caved in. And he goes, "Oh, okay, after you."
And I head upstairs.
All right, you go upstairs, and there's a nice little welcoming party of Florestan and Leosin sitting on 2 little stools to the side. And
hey, buddy.
I look at them and go, "Oh, the council has finally realized my predicament. I assume the store owner is here to apologize as well?"
And Sergeant Fallon stops writing for a second, but he hasn't looked up yet, and Leosin is like, well, perhaps later. We have more pressing matters to attend to."
So, hey, Leosin, are we gonna tell the council that this sergeant just accepted a bribe?
Florestan, there's no time for that. And this council you speak of, I don't know what you're talking about. We must run along now.
Okay.
As I join them heading out the door, I turn back to the sergeant and go, "Tell your buddies I said they should have bet on me." And then I walk out.
Sergeant Fallon gives you kind of a glance up from his books, and then gives you a and then goes back to writing whatever he's writing. You guys walk out, and Brahm and Aravan and Grimmeth are all standing at the open area in front of the tower.
I assume my gear that was collected when I was imprisoned, it was also
yes.
waiting for me in the lobby. Okay.
Yeah, you see Brahm and Aravan don't look happy for some reason, but they do brighten a little bit at the sight of you.
I blush.
So it seems like you finally got you out. Did you learn anything?
What we learn?
I learned that having the Council of Waterdeep's name to throw around gets you out of trouble. now.
No,
Let's
no.
go take care of this, and then I will go speak to shopkeeper, remind him who I am, and let him know he made a big mistake.
we have no. We are never going back to that shopkeeper because you will kill him, and I don't want to clean up that mess.
Just rough him up a little bit. You did not hear that, Leosin. I do not. I know you are a better man than me, and I appreciate your assistance, by the way.
Ah, yes. Well, of course. Well, we must hurry. The council has convened, and we must make our case to get more help from the powerful allies around us.
Everybody knows the party don't start till Florestan gets there. We'll be okay.
I
Florestan?
don't believe everyone knows that, but perhaps you can tell them. Okay, we must go. And he leads you.
Florestan, buddy.
He leads you deeper into the city, like towards the center, and you guys notice that you're getting into the nice area of town, and it seems to be large building after large building, a couple civic buildings and different temples pop up here and there, and you guys come to a building that, while it's called the Lord's Palace, reading from the placard that's on the column out front, it doesn't look like a palace necessarily. It looks more like a, like a tax building or something like that, like a big, large kind of convention center or civic center where a lot of things, get done or whatnot. And Leosin says, yes, we'll be going around to the side, not up the front door. And he takes you off to the side and leads you into a small door on the side where you guys go through a couple different winding hallways, and he's like, yes, and we cannot meet in places that are too ostentatious, so we meet in a civic building where people are coming and going all the time during all hours of the night and day. Here, we're back here in this room.
I cast Unseen Servant before we walk in, just in case.
Okay, so casting Unseen Servant, and what are you having your Unseen Servant do?
Just chill, follow me.
Okay.
More importantly, what's his name?
His name's David. Everybody knows.
David.
Or
Jarvis.
Bowie,
Alright.
I don't know. No, I like Bowie better.
Yeah.
His name's Bowie.
You see, like the first section.
Before we enter.
The first section you guys were walking into, like I said, had people coming and going, getting documents signed and paperwork turned in. And as you guys went to this back area, you can see that there's a lot of people that look like they're nobles, and they're just engaged in heated discussions and like talking and almost yelling at some points. And there's guards all over the place, and you notice that they're wearing all different kinds of colors and markings from various city-states across the north. So, it's,
So
just,
before we entered, I also wanted to cast Comprehend Languages.
okay,
Oh shit, that's
So
a
as
good
a
one.
preemptive.
okay. So you guys are kind of in the hallway, and there's all these like heated discussions going on, and people just like, oh, that's ridiculous. No, this is just like so and so, and we saw this happen years ago. This is nothing to be worried about. And then just kind of this din of just people talking and everything, and you hear the guards are kind of like, oh, where are you stationed at? Like, oh, I'm stationed blah blah blah, and then they're talking and kind of making small talk here and there, and Leosin kind of takes you over to the side, and he goes, okay, all right, this is the door for the council. Now, go in there, do not make fools of yourself, present your case, and remember, you are the ones that can turn the tide against the cult.
Well,
Florestan translation. Don't do the talking.
Excuse me?
Lee, don't do the talking.
I'm the most
Cameraman or
persuasive
Baram?
person here.
He really is.
Which makes no fucking sense.
Bards, man. It's
Right
all
then,
the sense it needs.
No, I'll be cool though. I'll be cool.
I will open.
All right.
I am
Like you said, don't make a fool of yourself.
Yes, I am actually not invited to this council discussion, but my superior is in there. Her name is Remalia Heaventree. She has already been briefed on your situation and what you have done for us and the land against the cult. So please, if you need anything or don't know where to turn, take cues from her.
What does she look like?
She is a moon elf, and
I'm listening.
she's the
Floristan, keep it in your pants.
Focus.
yes, she is a bit older, but has proven herself quite resourceful and a wise leader of the Harpers.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
And he says, and all right, here, and he opens the doors, and you walk in, and it's like a half semicircle of tables and chairs, and the chairs are all in good order. There's guards flanking all along the sides. These guards aren't dicking around talking to each other. They're actually standing attention. They're watching everything, keeping a close eye on the nobles that are in there. You look around the table, and there are a bunch of empty seats. It's only like eight different nobles sitting around, and there's seats for like 20, but they're kind of spaced out, and their guards are spaced out accordingly as well. And you see a familiar face, old Ontharr Froome.
Old Ontharr.
Yep, Order of the Gauntlet. He's over, and he gives you like a smile and a hearty wave, and he's like, "Oh yes, come please, the heroes of Greenest, my lords, my ladies. Here are the men we were telling you about." And you see Ontharr is sitting at a table with a moon elf, and she's older, but she looks like she's been in good shape, and looks like she has a sharp mind behind her bright eyes. And she nods to you guys and motions to the seats next to her and Ontharr.
I'll walk up and introduce myself.
Yes, I know all of you, and I've been already briefed by Leosin, but please, join us and allow me to make introductions. I am Ramalia Heaventree. I represent the Harpers. You already know Ontharr Froome. And Ontharr he's like shaking Brahm's hand like a little too hard, and like going to Erevan to shake his hand, and he's like really happy to see you guys. And yes, and across the tables over here is Dylan Winterhound, and there's like a half-elf ranger, and he has like his cloak, and he's not dressed as nice as everyone else, and it looks like he just got done from riding or something, but he gives you like a small kind of wave, but isn't overly friendly. And
What was his name?
Dylan Winterhound. He is come from the Emerald Enclave. And
That sounds ominous.
yes, and over here is the Lord Daggelt Neverember, and you see a powerful-looking man with his hands pressed against each other at the fingertips, and he looks at you, and he's kind of taking you guys in and trying to get a gauge of who you are, and as he's kind of looking at you, Lady Heaventree is like, Lord Neverember holds many titles. He is the current Open Lord of Waterdeep, Lord Protector of Neverwinter, as well as the leader of the Lord's Alliance. And you see a couple of the other guys that are off to his side. They look like warriors too, and when she talks about the Lord's Alliance, they all kind of give a look at of approval and nod and look at Neverember. She goes on to the next one, and it looks like to one of the fighters, and he's a dwarf, and over here is Ambassador Conrad Bron Anvil. He was once a former king of Mithrahal and has come as an ambassador from them to act as the Lord's Alliance delegate for the Dwarves of the North. And Bron Anvil doesn't even give you a nod. He's just staring at you, and it looks like you guys pissed in his Cheerios or something like that. But he's definitely not happy to see you guys. Or maybe he just
I smile at him.
Maybe he's just having a bad day in general. Over here is Marshal Ulda Ravengard. He is the leader of the Flaming Fist from Baldur's Gate. There's a man sitting there, and his arms are crossed over his chest, and he's looking at you guys. He's older and he's wearing armor. It looks like his armor is not just for show, that he actually knows what he's doing. And he gives you like a little bit of a nod, and he says, "Well met, adventurers." And when he says adventurers, you see the other male on his side that's wearing armor. He hears that, and he kind of perks up, and he's like, Lady Haventree, I will introduce myself. I am Sir Estevel, and I represent the might of Cormyr, including the Purple Dragon Knights, which I am a part of. I too was an adventurer like you lot. I was glad to see that the career hasn't died, and we still have brave men willing to do the good that this realm needs.
Well, Matt.
There's like a guy next to him, and he's like kind of looks like he's thinking about something, and he has a book open in front of him, and he's dressed in wizard's robes, and he's like, "Oh yes, and finally, over there is Tern Hornblade. Some call him Thunderspells. He has definitely earned his nickname, I'm sure." And Tern Hornblade looks up from his book, and he's like, "Oh yes, I'm interested to hear about your exploits. Please, now that introductions are done, we'll turn it over to Lord Neverember." Lord Neverember sits up from his seat, and he says, "Right. Well, we've had enough time to think about what is going on and to hear about comings and goings. Where should we start?" And then you hear a couple people like, "Oh, no, talk about the towns being sacked," and the others like, "Oh, the flying castle, of course." And you see Lady Ramalia or Lady Haventree kind of just sitting back and taking it all in, and she's not joining in the yelling. And finally, Lord Neverember puts his hands up, like, "Right, okay. Made a mistake to ask you what we should talk of first. Please, now that our guests of honor are here, perhaps they can share with us what they know."
Okay, yeah. I'd stand up. Can I stand towards like the middle of the room? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I'll
yeah.
stand up as well.
Okay.
You mentioned towns being sacked. We were present at one of them, the sack of Greenest. Fought in its defense.
That's right, they did, and they did a great job. And Onthar's behind you, like, giving you praise.
Afterwards, we tracked what we at the time thought were raiders to their encampment and discovered them to be forces of a cult. A dragon
Cult.
cult.
No, cult. You see Braun Anvil's muttering angrily under his breath.
Can I do an investigation check to see if he's angry at the mention of a cult, or like he doesn't agree that there is a cult, or if that he's angry at the cult?
That would probably be an insight check, actually.
Yeah.
So
insight.
can I do? Okay.
Try to gauge. All right.
16.
All right. 16. Erevan rolled a 13. So, Florestan, you kind of get the notion that there's something particular pissing him off, and it may or may not be you guys, but it seems to just be he's just angry at one thing, but he's in a mood for everything else. Like he doesn't want to hear everything else.
All right.
Can I turn to him? And in Dwarvish, I'll say to him, "My friend, there is a cult. It is real. We have been fighting it for months, and they seem to never grow weaker."
I speak the common tongue. Speak plainly in front of the rest of the group.
Oh, he's a dick.
Well, as I was saying, we found them to be a cult, a dragon cult, worshipping Tiamat, which in retrospect should have been clear early considering the large number of kobolds and half-dragons among their ranks. We trailed them from there north into the Mere of Dead Men, where they had a fortification set up in an abandoned castle. And from there, via a portal, to the Grey Peak Mountains, where we managed to discover a major base of operations of theirs, a floating castle, which they had seized from the cloud giant Blagothkus.
And as you say Blagothkus, the doors swing open, and in strolls in this wild-looking elf, and he has like some armor, but you also notice he carries a staff, and he like kind of strolls in, and he's looking down his nose at everyone, and he says, "Sorry, I am late. Where were you?" As he goes off to his seat, and he sits down, and everyone's kind of looking at him, and Lady Haventree's like, yes, this is King Melandrach from the Misty Forest. He represents the Lord's Alliance delegate for the elves of both the Misty Forest and High Forest. Thank you for attending, King Melandrach. And he gives like a very like slight like smile and nod, and you see that he's kind of warmer to Haventree, and then composes himself as he looks around snootily down his nose at the rest of you. Please, Erevan, continue. What you said there, the castle in the sky, the one that is right outside the city right now.
Yes. We discovered that the cult was not entirely united, but did have internal divisions between factions, and managed to make contact with one cultist who was of significant local influence, who was dissatisfied with the major cult leader who we had been pursuing for this time, one Resmir the Black. We allied with her, and she was able to smuggle us onto the castle. There, we also allied ourselves...
Excuse me, Resmir the Black, you say, and what she happened to be a dragon mask wearer? And you see that Hornblade, the wizard, is trying to get your attention.
She was, yes.
A dragon mask wearer. I've heard of these. They're magical items that must be destroyed before they bring Tiamat back to life. And Lord Neverember's like, that won't happen. These are just fables. Please, Ambassador of Brawnanvil, the man is speaking. And Hornblade, the wizard, is kind of like, yes, okay, let me make some notes. Do continue. And he's scribbling some notes as you get your
on board
placement.
the castle. We also managed to ally ourselves with that Blagothkus. He had been forced into compliance as the cult had abducted his children.
Wait a second, who's Blagothkus?
The cloud giant who owns the castle.
What? And then Anthar gives a whistle. He's like, I told you these guys were the right bunch. Bringing a cloud giant as an ally. And Anthar's like backing you up. And you do see that you've gotten a couple of the more like ones who were kind of yawning and not paying attention. Now all eyes are turned to you.
As I was saying, he is presently in the castle. We would have brought him, but we didn't think it was a good idea to bring a cloud giant through the city.
You think?
At any rate, we managed to forge an alliance with him, discovering that unfortunately his children had already been killed by the cult, and so he had no reason to remain compliant. With our allies from the rival faction of the cult, we assassinated Resmir the Black.
Yes, all right. And there's some clapping, and then you see Hornblade is like taking notes. He stops for a second, and you see him like draw a line through one of his notes, and then goes back to scribbling. And Anthar's like, "Oh yeah, see, these guys know what they're doing." And then a couple other people are kind of starting to pay you more attention and not be so suspicious of you.
Yes, at this point I must report a regrettable fact. At the time, we were not fully aware of the importance of this black dragon mask. It was the price of the aid of the rival faction of the cult, without whom we would not have been able to reach the castle and assassinate Resmir. With luck, based on our interactions with her, we believe the local leader, Talus the White, is likely to prove a future ally and is not interested in bringing Tiamat to this world. However, she now possesses the Black Dragon Mask. I do, however, have...
I'm sorry. You say she possesses the Black Dragon Mask and not you lot?
Yes.
And you see a couple of the fighters are like, and the guys in the armor are like, what the hell? And then you see Hornblade's taking his notes, and King Melindratch, who came in late, he's like, see? Can't trust anything in the hands of people who have their blood sullied by human weakness. To think that you would hand over such a powerful artifact to the enemy.
Had we not,
He is not the
not
enemy.
struck that deal, we never would have reached the castle in the first place.
Additionally, Lee stands up. She is not the enemy. She is a member of the cult who wishes to take it in a different direction that is just as beneficial to our plans as destroying the cult outright.
You say she's a member of the cult and you just handed her the mask right back? What's wrong
Yes,
with you?
because she does not wish to pursue the necromantic desires of the rest of the cult. She wishes to change it. It is
Aunt
better to
Barry's
have
are a
it
bunch of
inside
knuckleheads.
Would you prefer that we had not struck the deal, and that we had simply permitted Resmir to escape entirely?
I don't remember when making deals with enemies was proper etiquette. Perhaps you can talk to one of these two about playing nice with others. And
It's
Anthar
not playing
kind of,
nice. It is playing politics. You, of all people, should know that.
politics.
Indeed.
And he-
One does not strike deals with their allies. Allies are already interested in the same goals as you. One must strike deals with enemies. A wise man once said, "A good compromise is one in which all parties walk away at least partially unsatisfied."
and you
I
see,
believe all parties walked away partially unsatisfied from that.
you see the ranger kind of takes your words in, and he says, they are right. Balance must be struck. And it's not always that enemies and allies cannot be one and the same when the threat is too high. And they stop, and Lord Neverember's looking at you, and it kind of quiets down for a second, and he says, "Is there anything else you would like to add?"
I want to know what you plan on doing.
Well, also after killing Resmir, we acquired her magical greatsword, which appears to be sentient, and also some form of
What?
specter.
You didn't give that back to the cult either?
As I said, in a compromise, everyone walks away at least partially unsatisfied.
Well, to answer your question, what was your name? And he's pointing to you, Florestan.
My name's Florestan.
To answer your question, Florestan, we are precisely meeting for that very purpose, to figure out what are we going to do about this, if there is such a need for us to convene, and if the threat is as much as you say it is, or as Lady Heaventree has been telling us about.
I don't need to convince you what the threat is. I mean, you've seen Greenest. You're talking about all of these villages being sacked. One thing that Erevan didn't say was we know the region where they're making their moves. We know the whereabouts the leaders of this cult are and what they plan on doing. So I'm submitting that this group of the 5 of us at least go take a look at it, but we could really use some backup if you guys want to start putting together some people to help us, because I mean, we're not here to argue with you. We're gonna go do this, but you really need to start taking this seriously.
Well, I can assure you we are taking this seriously, which is why we've brought to everyone from around the area and all the Lord's Alliance delegates to see.
I mean, that's not really the point I was trying to make. We need to take action. Is what I was trying to say, and we know where to point the action.
And Lady Haventree kind of speaks up and from your side, and she's like, "Yes, these men have been pivotal in turning the tide against the cult and been a continual thorn in their side. not only have they killed Rezmir, but they also encountered the dragon hatchery, where the cult of the dragon was hatching eggs.
Ah, that's true. We recovered 3 eggs from it.
And what became of the hatchery?
Do you mean the physical location or the eggs?
Well, the eggs, of course, and also if the hatchery was left to its own devices, or did you destroy it, perhaps?
It had already been destroyed in the sense that the eggs were removed and the cult had fled the area. As for the eggs, we took care of them. They are disposed of, you might say.
And you hear one of the guys off to the side is like, "What does he mean, Lady Heaventree? What do they mean when they say disposed of the eggs?" And
Please.
They are no
sold
longer
them.
in the cult's hands. That is all that matters.
she kind of rubs her hands for a second, and you see she's kind of wringing her hands a little bit, and she's like, yes, well, they sold the eggs on the black market." And you see like two guys like pull back from the table, like, "Look, how can we work with these men?" And you see the dwarf Braun Anvil just starts laughing. He's and Anthar's like, "Oh well, I they must have had a good reason or something. I mean, yeah. Why would you guys do that?"
Specifically, Lee sold the eggs on the black market.
Oh my!
Yes, we needed funds to equip ourselves enough to handle the cult.
Oh,
Perhaps if you
gentlemen.
would like to sponsor us going forward, we will not need to make such difficult moral decisions. As it is, they are with people that you might consider allies of mine, to a certain degree, and more importantly, they are no longer with the cult. For that, you are welcome.
To be fair, we were somewhat in an odd position. These were not small eggs. They were large eggs, quite large eggs, too large to carry around long term. We had nowhere to store them. The choice was between destroying them and selling them.
Would you have these men just run around destroying everything that is born naturally? These are dragon eggs with no inherent evil. You see that it's the ranger kind of talking in your favor, and he's like, "Just because they are dragon eggs does not mean you go around smashing them. I have some particular chromatic dragons that do not exhibit any signs of violence towards others, and merely want to hunt like all the other animals in the realm." And
He just sort of gestures like, "There you go. That's what I was talking about." Yeah.
you see, like Lord Neverember is taking it all into account. He doesn't seem to be as mad as the others, but definitely the dwarf and the other elf that came in late, the king of the Misty Forest, King Melindrak. He has like a look of disdain at you, like,
Ah, here's one more thing. One more thing that might be of interest to you all. Considering how much reasonable interest you have in politics, the Red Wizards of Thay appear to be associated with the cult.
Yes, Red Wizards of Thay. Yes, I was just about to ask about that. And the wizard Hornblade is scribbling. He's like, "Oh, please do go on, Ray. They have been spotted with members of the cult. Did you figure out why they are with them and what they are offering? What kind of help?"
We're not entirely sure. We killed one Red Wizard, although he may have been relatively low ranking.
Do
Another-
you know his name?
Yes, we
Notes
do.
someone-
His name was Asbar Joth.
Okay. Oh, I think that was the one on the. He was spotted on the caravan leaving from Waterdeep. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. There was another on the castle. We thought we killed him, but it turned out to merely be a simulacrum.
That's a simulacrum is like a kind of a host where something other guys like, yes, we know, I've heard of that. Go on with it. So you say you only killed the simulacrum and didn't actually kill this other one? What was his name again?
Do we have
His name was Coward. He fled before we had the chance. Don't worry, we will try again.
You see Hornblade stop from his notes and is like, "No, I don't think Coward was his name. Was it wasn't Modar, was it? A Rathmodar?
That sounds right.
Yes.
Yes.
That's correct.
Rathmodar is a considerably high-ranking Red Wizard of Thay. This is interesting news. To think that Rathmodar would be working with the cult is unheard of. I mean, they have their own problems, and and getting their power from the Lich, but to do this with the cult, I wonder what could be the cause.
What else is of note?
Well, Grimith is gonna stand up and pull out the Beyond the Iron Gates book that's written in Infernal and say, well, we are unsure exactly why the wizards are cooperating with them, but I have this book that outlines summoning Tiamat from the Nine Hells, found in Resmir's room.
You see Hornblade, his hands are like outstretched, like, gimme.
It's written in Infernal. Can any of you read Infernal?
Here, over here, me over here.
I will give it to Hornblade.
And you see no one, everyone else is just like, I'm not taking that book. It looks like it's made out of, like, the leather is some kind of weird skin marking.
Well, I believe that the wizards may be aiding to summon Tiamat with their arcane energies, but there's no evidence towards it.
This is interesting. Oh yes, and you see him looking through it, and he's completely engrossed in the book. Lord Neverember turns and he's like, the good Lady Heaventree was the ones who brought us together, and I thank you, Lady Heaventree, for bringing us all here, even in your time of grief. Those of you who do not know, Lady Heaventree's husband was assassinated right here in Waterdeep. Arthagast Oldbrenter was a masked lord of Waterdeep and a true friend and benefactor of all of us, and you know that he was a good man, and to have this happen under our watch was no doubt from the cult of the dragon. There were signs and markings of their assassins. So we have brought together this council, and we are here to discuss what must be done next against this cult of the dragon before they continue. And you see everyone kind of looking at him and waiting for him to say more. And he's like, we have heard what these adventurers have had to say. Let us take a moment to ponder this. We will reconvene here back in 10 to 15 minutes, and we will speak about what actions we must do next. Please, everyone, you can find refreshments outside, but do not wander too far, and we'll meet back here in 10. So that's where we'll wrap up this episode, and next time we'll find out what the council has decided after hearing your story.